Okay, let's talk about that one, shall we? Diving right in. The Knicks are in their first rough patch in quite a minute. You know, they were swept in this back to back in LA. This is their first 2 game losing streak since that 2-9 stretch back in early January. They've also lost 3 out of 4 overall. So, if you're one to take the standings super serious and want the highest seed possible, obviously the 1 seed's done. Um, the 2 seed, I would say there's a chance that Boston secures that. They've got Tatum back. They don't lose. It's still, very possible, but I think the hopes of the Knicks being this this 60 win super team, which is what a lot of us had in mind, I feel like entering the year. There's only, was there 15 to 18 games left? That's over. At this rate, and this is where I usually am with the regular season, or at least it's where I've been for most of this year. Just get to that top 4 seed, secure a top 4 seed to get home court, and get healthy for the playoffs, please. That is all this is. So that's big picture what I'm looking at. As far as this game, a lot of I don't know process things that I disliked. It was very similar also to the Lakers game, where the Knicks just got a lot of open looks and they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. As Mike Brown said early on, they couldn't hit anything. It was just a lot of missing. And it became a turnover fest once again. The Knicks had, I believe, 20 turnovers in this game. It's so infuriating watching your team turn over the basketball. Um, Especially when they're dumb, sloppy decisions. But like possessions are so valuable in this game. So to give them away and then to do it over and over 20 times is very difficult to watch. It's not good hoops. Um, but a lot of these turnovers the last couple of nights have been when the defense decides to flood the strong side and shadow help on Brunson isolations to make it very difficult for him to make that weak side skip. And a lot of his turnovers recently have been because of that. But I'm not going to spend this episode ragging on Jalen Brunson because this was a good Brunson game, and it's nice to see Brunson start to shoot the ball a little bit better here in these last couple of games in LA. You know, has a really good efficient game tonight or last night. It's nice to get Cat erupting like he did. Nobody else was really great for the Knicks in this one. I think OG Anunoby, 22 points. He was fine. Good game for him. We'll talk about the defensive stuff in a second because he was part of that. Mikal Bridges continues to struggle. Listen, I've been vocal about it. He's been he's been a little bit underwhelming as a Knick, just given the expectations and obviously the price. You wanted more consistency. Right now, he's in a bad stretch. He has averaged 8 points on 9 shots in his last 5 games, shooting 37% overall, 25% from 3, 42% from 2, 4 for 5 at the foul line. To give him a 44% true shooting percentage in the last 5 games, league average is about 18 or about 14% better. So that's not good. So he continues to struggle. Ariel Huckporty played with no Mitchell Robinson last night because of the back-to-back. He gave you some good minutes, shockingly. Mo Diawara, we'll talk about him a little bit later. Had some good moments. Shamet had a bad shooting night. I thought he wasn't great defensively either. One of those games where you just watch Shamet and you love him, you appreciate him, but you do see the absence of Deuce McBride. You feel it. Jose Alvarado continues to be underwhelming as a Knick. I think a lot of us are starting to realize, again, like Deuce McBride is very missed in this rotation. He's giving you not much offense. The shot making's not been there. But all the individual stuff is whatever, because the first thing I really want to hit on in this episode, and it's going to be another episode where we get really specific and break down possession by possession because there's a lot of stuff here to go over. I want to talk about the Knicks defense last night because at the end of the day, what was the final score? 126 to 118. So actually they did give up a lot of points, but it wasn't good, and they continue to listen. They played good defense this year. They're not top 7 for no reason. But the strategy, the way they approached the Clippers last night, a little bit frustrating. I do want to say off the bat here, first of all, like Kawhi Leonard is an incredible shot maker. He is one of the best scorers in this game, and he quite often, that part of his game gets overshadowed because of the wing defense he provides. So there's no perfect coverage for those Kawhi Brook pick and rolls. But I, for one, never really liked blitzing as heavily as I just never liked when teams blitz heavy, especially versus an offense that can shoot 1 to 5, and that's a lot of offenses nowadays. I would have preferred in this game to just let OG handle Kawhi in one-on-one, or even put at times like OG at the 5, Cat at the 4, so you can switch that pick and roll. Instead, the Knicks were very ice heavy and very blitz heavy, and because of that, they got torched by Brook Lopez on the pop and on the short roll every single time. They ran a few ice coverages in the first half. They were icing Kawhi pick and rolls, but Kawhi kept finding Cat in the middle of the floor anyway, just like snake dribbling out of it, finding his way to the middle, pulling up over Cat, middle of the first quarter. It's a Kawhi Lopez pick and roll. OG and Cat ice it. Kawhi gets Cat, middle of the floor, mid-range jumper at the nail. Late second quarter, another Kawhi Lopez pick and roll. It's the same exact result with the same 2 Knicks in action in the same exact coverage, same exact jumper on the same exact spot, And so they kind of went away from that, and they started going to more of a full-on blitz. They were blitzing at the half court in the middle of the floor, which is like not what you want to do. It's too risky in my opinion. It's too risky to blitz if you're not going to get the stop at the point of attack, because if they get by that blitz anyway, and the purpose of the blitz is to get the ball basically or force a turnover off the pass if you don't steal the ball. But if they get by the point of attack, now you're screwed because you're losing the numbers game in the back with the open shooter or the open cutter. It's 4v3 on the short roll. And my God, come the second half of this game, did you see that? There was a possession middle of the third quarter. It's a Kawhi Lopez pick and roll. OG and Cat blitz it. Kawhi goes to Lopez on the short roll. Lopez finds a cutting Mathurin who's open because the Clippers have the numbers in the back off of the blitz. About 2 minutes later, it's another Kawhi Lopez pick and roll. Hart and Huck Porty blitz at this time. Kawhi hits Lopez on the short roll again. Lopez finds a cutting Mathurin once again, open for the same reason. Late in the third quarter, it's a Kawhi Lopez DHO. Hart and Huck Porty blitz the handoff. Kawhi hits an open Lopez for a pop 3. Again, open because the Knicks blitzed it. Early in the fourth quarter, you get a Kawhi Garland pick and roll. OG and Jose blitz it. Kawhi hits an open Garland off the ghost screen. Garland with the catch, drive, and finish as OG is late to recover back off the blitz. Also, McHale was on the strong corner, but he couldn't really do much except for stunt off the strong corner for that reason. So the Knicks get beat there. Middle of the fourth quarter, Kawhi Lopez pick and roll again. OG and Cap blitz it. Kawhi hits Lopez on the short roll. Lopez goes to an open Garland for three, again, because the Clippers have the numbers in the back off the blitz. Late fourth quarter, Kawhi, Chris Dunn pick and roll. OG and Shamet blitz it. Kawhi hits Chris Dunn on the short roll. Dunn hits an open Derrick Jones Jr. for a wing three, again for the same exact reason. They just didn't have the numbers in the back. When you blitz and you don't execute it at the point of attack, you are almost screwed against most teams in this NBA. And these were just the makes from the field. Like I'm not even going to go over a few baskets that I didn't bring up, or some baskets that the Clippers just ended up missing, or some that led to a foul and free throw attempts. Like, there were a lot of possessions. And so that's why you look up, and the Clippers had 25 assists, shoot 18 for 39 from three, 46%. Kawhi Leonard, 29 points, 8 assists. Brook Lopez, 16 points, 3 assists, knocks down 3 threes. It was ugly. So that's my first takeaway, is I just did very much dislike the coverage. You're going to double the pick and roll. Okay, you better damn well hope that you get the ball out of it. And they didn't. And meanwhile, they were turning it over on the other end. Now, there were some good things to take away, and we'll discuss those good things in just a second when we return from our break here on episode 1021 of BD4. My voice just cracked. Stay with us.
Quick break here, guys. Stay connected with BD4 on social media. Follow us on Instagram and X at BD4Pod, and find us on Facebook by searching BD4. Don't miss out. Join the conversation. Want more BD4? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and never miss an episode. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and share with your fellow fans. Don't forget to ring that bell so you're always the first to know when a new video drops. Love BD4 but don't have the time to sit down and watch? Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a 5-star rating and a quick review. It helps us grow and keeps the conversation going.
Okay, welcome back to the show. I appreciate you all tuning into the podcast. Thank you for tuning into BD4. BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Talking Knicks, and as bad as that was of a loss, the Knicks still scored some points. And I think a big reason for that was the Los Angeles Clippers, despite the Knicks still running out the same starting lineup, which we'll of course touch on later. The Clippers decided to not cross-match their big to Josh Hart last night, right? In the Knicks, they took advantage of that offensively, right? Lopez is not very mobile. He's not the most switchable. So they didn't, so the Knicks were able to take advantage of him being on Cat, right? By using Brunson and Cat in action together to take advantage of that matchup by getting Cat, just getting him buckets on Lopez or getting him on the small off of a switch. Brunson getting buckets on the Lopez switch or the drop. Those two, Brunson and Cat, combined for 63 points. As far as Karl Anthony Towns goes, just bucket after bucket. Middle of the first quarter, you get a Brunson Cat pick and roll. Brunson draws 2 off the ball screen to open up the roll for Cat. He goes to Cat with Lopez late to get back over. Cat finishes over the low man helper, I think it was Kawhi, for an easy basket. Top of the second quarter in the no Brunson 5 outlook. Same exact thing, but with Jose Alvarado as point guard. Brook Lopez is on the ball side of the screen, late to come back over on the roll. Late second quarter, it's a Bridges Cat pick and roll. Bridges draws Brook Lopez to the ball side and drop. Then he goes to Cat with Lopez, again, late to recover to the roll side of the action. Cat with a right-handed finish at the basket. Late second quarter, again, This one was a Cat Brunson inverted pick and roll to get Cat the small. So Cat's got Lopez on him, but Brunson screens to switch Lopez off and switch Jones Jr. on to Cat. Cat ends up driving on Jones for easy drive, nice looking floater at the basket. Just taking advantage of that. Mid third quarter, excuse me, Brunson goes to Cat for trail 3 with Lopez and drop. There were a number of times in this game, maybe 3 or 4 times, where Cat shot over Lopez, who just gave him a little too much room. Top of the fourth quarter, Bridges Cat pick and roll again to switch the big off Cat, get him the small. Bridges instantly hits Cat off the roll on the low post to finish over Jones Jr. A few minutes later, Kolek is in for Alvarado like that. You get a Kolek Cat pick and pop with the big late to recover to Cat. Cat pump and go, drives, gets to the lane for an and-one finish over Jones Jr. And then a few minutes after that, Brunson and Cat pick and roll. Brunson draws 2 off the ball screen to open the roll for Cat again. Goes to Cat with the big late to recover back over. Cat finishes. So that's the benefit of having the big man off Cat. On Cat, I should say, because you can go to the pick and roll, and if you get the switch, you take advantage of the mismatch. And if you don't get the switch, you take advantage of that space for Brunson, or you take advantage of the matchup for Cat as he likes to drive on bigs from up top. And then for Brunson, yeah, talking about the space he gets. Middle of the first quarter, Brunson Cat pick and roll. He gets Lopez and drop, like a late switch, gets on him for a layup. Late second quarter, it's a Brunson Cat action. Brunson kind of like jab steps to bait his man to overplay the ball screen. Cat's got the ball at the time. As he does that, at the same time, Lopez is obviously playing up on Cat because Cat's a threat to shoot. So with Brunson's man behind and with Lopez up, Cat hits Brunson on an open back cut, gets a floater out of it. And then to end the second quarter, probably my favorite 2 possessions of the night, 2 of the same exact actions. It's a Brunson Cat action. They run it twice in a row. Empty side action between Brunson and Cat. The Clippers play it straight up. Lopez is at the level, but it's not a switch. So Brunson gets the ball off the handoff on the empty side. Lopez is on the ball screen side of the action. He's expecting help, but because it's an empty side action, there's no help there. So Brunson uses that space on the empty side to get to his shot, and he pulls up. They went to that twice in a row at the end of the first half, and it worked. So, again, when Cat's got the big, you can do so much. And fortunately, the Clippers are a team that doesn't have the personnel to feel comfortable enough to cross-match Cat and Hart. So the Knicks were able to take advantage of that and score the amount of points they got. Now, that all said, as funny as it is, the starting 5 in this game continued to suck. It's been bad. You know, it was bad versus Milwaukee. It was bad versus San Antonio. It was bad versus Toronto. It was bad versus Denver. And it was bad last night. It's been bad on the entire season. It's been bad for 2 seasons in a row now. You know, I was on Twitter this morning and just reading some really good threads by one of the guys at Hot Hand Theory. If you go follow XJ on Twitter, it's a great follow. Breaks down a lot of that stuff. Xavier J Designs on Twitter, and I'm going to paraphrase a bunch of things he said in this thread. But basically, you know, just saying, like, at this point in the season, again, we have 15 or so games left. It's too late to even experiment with the 5-out look or even Cat at the 4, Mitch at the 5, because the sample size is just too small now. If you do it now, it almost has to work because we wasted so much time with this starting rotation, right? And he was saying, like, breaking it down, just like the 4 best players on this team, Brunson, Cat, OG, McHale, and then number 5, you know, it's up for debate, right? Between if you think it's Deuce, Hart, or Mitch. But he took those 4 guys and he laid it out. How much of those 4 guys have played with each of the of the possible fifth best player in the last 2 seasons, including the playoffs. Those 4 guys with heart, the lineup that everyone dislikes, have played about 4,000 possessions together. Those 4 guys with deuce, the lineup that everyone loves, have played less than 300 possessions together. And those 4 guys with Mitch, a lineup that everyone likes, has played less than 250 possessions together. And when you just consider that, it's a pretty unacceptable imbalance. I have to agree with that, especially considering that Deuce McBride has been injured, and now you can't see what that looks like in a larger sample, because when Deuce gets back, it'll be in the playoffs, at some point. And he also just said, he put up the numbers, when you play Cat with 4 other floor spacers in the last 2 seasons, that's a plus 14 net rating. That's incredible. This net rating is around less than 4, I believe. And you got an easy schedule coming up, a really easy one, which is going to make the starting 5 seem better because it's going to pad their numbers. But the principle remains, right? The reasons to go to that Deuce lineup was because it gives you spacing on your drives, right? The big's going to be up on the perimeter guarding Cat to open up the paint, right? And you're going to have a bunch of shooters for the defender to stay home on the corners. That's going to open up the roll or the drive up the middle, right? It's going to give you the proper matchups for Brunson and Cat. Cat's going to be able to attack the big up top. Brunson's going to be able to get that space on a big and drop or on a switch. The pick and pop game is going to open up if the defense doesn't switch the action with the 5, right? You're going to have better point of attack defense if you play Deuce or if you play Shamet, right? Because right now Deuce is hurt and Shamet is kind of that Deuce fill-in. We're not getting that enough. And then the reasons for the Mitch lineup, it's okay, you can put Cat at the 4, right? You can have him in low man help, not in pick and rolls as much defensively. And then you can screen Mitch for Cat to open up his 3-point game and different kind of ball screen actions and weak side actions with Mitch. You can crash the offensive glass and out rebound teams in those lineups. But right now, we just continue to be force-fed this Josh Hart lineup because he's trying to work out the kinks. And as much as I'm trying to be reasonable about it, how long can you work on something without realizing, oh, shit, it just doesn't work? It just messes with the spacing. And, again, it can mess up the matchups and your switches and that Brunson-Cat dynamic if the defense has the personnel to cross-match and go to those aggressive help coverages. It just doesn't make sense to keep going to it. I understand trying to work things out, but you are at a very, very, very unacceptable large sample size now to where it doesn't make much sense to be like, hey, let's try something else because our roster is deep enough to where we can, So that's where we are. With that said, I will say Karl Anthony Towns gets the game ball from the first unit, 16 now on the year. He finishes this game 35 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, a blocked shot, 13 for 17 shooting, 3 for 4 from 3, 10 for 13 from 2, 6 of 8 at the foul line in 36 minutes. Already talked about his performance, so no need to really dive deeper there, but it's good to see him erupt, and it's all about the coverages they play on him. And then you go to the second unit, and I think we can go to Mo Diawara. I think he was the best Knick among the second unit last night. 4 game balls now on the year for him. In this game, 5 points. 5 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 for 3 from the field, 1 of 1 on threes, +3 in the box score across 18 minutes. That's good. To be +3 in a game where the Knicks lost by 8 says how much you're making an impact. Some more bad stretches, though, early on, and he's had some rough goes lately, but I love that Mike Brown let him work through it. He kept playing him in the second half, and he was much better later in the second half. He was a big part of that late third quarter run. Mo Diawara out there with Brunson, Those guys were helping them pull within, I think, 7 at the time. It was a 15-point deficit in the third. Those guys come in, and it's 7 points by the end of the period. Huckport even had his moments with them, although I don't like that lineup with 2 inexperienced rookies. But I love the shooting from Mo Diawara. I love that he never loses confidence. He's taking 8 3-point attempts per 36 minutes. You love that. Some of his drives can be erratic, some decision-making, turnovers, the defensive stuff. I get, but he looks good. He continues to look good. So he gets the game ball from the second unit. But with that said, I think that is all we have for this game. And we are going to wrap up this episode 3 or episode 1021, by talking about what is up next for the Knicks. And let me go grab my phone real quick to get the schedule because I have it on my phone. Because it is one of the easier schedules you're going to see. So if they screw this up and they start losing games, man, we're going to have some problems. But over the next couple of weeks, the Knicks, so obviously they got to finish off this West Coast trip, but I'm just going to read off their opponents. They've got the Utah Jazz tomorrow, 20-45. Indiana Pacers at 15-49. Golden State Warriors at 500. The Pacers at 15-49. The Nets at 17-47. The Wizards at 16-47. The Pelicans at 21-45, and then the Hornets at 32-33. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row against teams that are 500 or worse. The Knicks need to beat at least 6 of them. I think going anything worse than 6-2 would be unfortunate if you're still wanting the Knicks to, if you still have hope for the 2 seed, which the 2 seed's in reach. But so that's good. They can get a rhythm. They can get hot, make everybody feel better again. Those who react, by wins and losses so strongly, I think most fans will be happy by the end of this stretch. Knock on wood. But with that said, we're gonna wrap this episode up. No trivia question tonight. Forgot to add one in here. But Knicks lose to the Clippers. They're about to get hot, so I have the utmost confidence that they will get hot here on the stretch. So this should be fun. But tough loss with tough, concerning indicators that just continue to happen, and it's an indicator. So it's not a good sign that these lineups continue to be ran out there despite overwhelming evidence at this point. But appreciate you all, and I'll see you soon. Later. Hey guys, thank you for listening to BD4. Be sure to follow us on social media, subscribe to us on YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next time.